We'd like to welcome everyone here. This is our usual lecture series, and I always like to introduce some of our board members because they work so hard. And I see Cindy Calcaterra here, and I see Gordon Pruitt back here, Bert Gordon back there, and Becky Lawson was somewhere in the building. Dennis Abripus is back here, and Cheryl Trench is over here, and Doris Wright is over here, and they all do a lot of work, and we always appreciate it. And I'm now going to turn it over to Cheryl, and she's got some information for us.
First, let's give a round of applause because many of the Linton family are here with us today. And all of you. Lisa Carnegie had the original idea that it would be really cool to bring Mr. Rick Linton to us and talk about the Egyptian combo. And it's been months ago. So we've been into planning, and Gordon Pruitt, he's our event organizer, was able to make all of this happen. So we appreciate all of you coming, all of us and all of them, the Linton family. We appreciate it very much. So I want to remind you about what's going to happen next month on April 12th. It will be the second Friday of the month because Easter falls on Good Friday is on the 19th. So we have a Dr. Gary Jackson, and I think Dennis Abripus knows him. He's a Herrin native. He is retired from the CIA, from the Secret Service. He lives in the Washington, D.C. area. His sister is Rita Herringer, who lives here in Herrin. And he's going to return to us. He's an author of many books, and he talks about society, what's going on now, how his job was, what he can tell us. I think it will be fascinating fair, and it's April the 12th at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to bring Gordon Pruitt up here, and he's going to introduce this wonderful program that we have today. Raise your hand if you ever were in the room or heard the Egyptian combo. So that would embrace many of us. So Gordon, the introduction.
Today's guest, Rick Linton, has been a musician since he was 6, when he started playing trumpet in grade school to relieve an asthma condition. 8 years later, he added the guitar to his repertoire, and soon thereafter, the Egyptian combo was born. Success came early to the band with Gale Winds, an instrumental that charted on the KXOK survey in St. Louis in August of 1964. Over the band's 50-year career, a horn section was a frequent component of the combo, as was the fact that many of the members came from Herrin. For the past several programs, it's been my task to introduce a salami slicer in Tony Goldoni, a spelunker in Todd Carr, and today it's a rock star. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Linton.
They were asking me to use the microphone because some people in the back may not be able to hear very well. But I want to thank Lisa Carnegie and Gordon and Becky and Doris for all the work they did putting this together. It's amazing, and it's really heartwarming to have this bigger crowd here for my presentation. My wife talked me into doing this several years ago. She's a teacher, and she wanted me to do it for her class, and I thought, you know, nothing could be more boring than some old guy showing a bunch of slides, you know. But they really liked it, particularly the parts about Vietnam, and I had the weaponry and a lot of things that the little boys liked in there. But the story about the band is really something I love to talk about because it was I had an employee when I was in St. Louis that said I was Forrest Gump. All the crazy things I've done in my life, and this is just going to be part of it. But the band started, like Gordon said, we started out, and this is of course the the problem that we had on the train. You guys remember? Some of you remember that. And we played a lot of crazy things. But when we first started, we practiced and we practiced, and we were so excited about maybe becoming famous, and particularly the girls, you know, we were thinking, that's gonna be great. We were playing right across the street at the, we took this thing out the first time, and we were right across the street at the Teen Town building over there. And we were sitting, you know, way back in the corner, here all set up, and we were playing away. We thought, well, this is great. And we looked up, and 4 of these gorgeous girls were walking right toward us. We're going, wow, this is just what we wanted. They come over and they said, would you guys mind taking a break so we could dance to the jukebox? but we lived through a lot of it. We lost about 3 talent contests. We lost one in Johnson City, but each talent contest we picked up another musician. We got, it was Lloyd Brady and I, and then Butch Nevius from Christopher, kind of started out with the group, and we added, later on we added, I'll go through these slides with you. Let's see if this works. Anyway, I'm on the left-hand side, then Nick Ridgway. Nick's father was a band director, I believe, and Nick was a fabulous sax player. Butch Nevius was a drummer from Christopher. Lonnie Dixon, who's about 6'5", messed up all our shots because the rest of us were vertically challenged. There's Doug with the guitar. You can see how small he was because the guitar was really big on him. And Michael Atkins. Mike became a gospel singer and traveling around. And Lloyd Brady. And Lloyd down on the end, the right end, the keyboard back there was the guy who wrote Gale Winds. And he brought it in. He brought it in as, I'll never forget what's her name, and we decided that wouldn't be a good name for the song. And this was a long time. The DuQuoin Fair invited us up to be in the Battle of the Bands. And we said, well, we really shouldn't be because we were professionals at the time. But we went anyway because they'd already put it in the paper we'd be there. So we went, and of course we won because the band was really sounding good at the time. Mike is a great singer. I don't know if you guys ever heard him sing. He's fabulous, great voice. Here we are later in Springfield, Illinois. This is Danny Cagle on the far right, far left over here. And then you see Doug, still looking very young. We brought him in at 14 years old. So. And I've got the trumpet. That's Ellis McKenzie. Ellis passed away a few years ago, but he was also in Vietnam with us. Paul Powell. And he wasn't in the band. Butch Nevius, you see back in the back. Kevin Cox was a sax player at that time. Lloyd Brady, you see back there, and then of course Lonnie Dixon. We recorded down in Nashville, Tennessee, at RCA, and the whole concept of it, this guy named Chips Mullen, who was a record producer, had us come down, and we backed up several other groups. And we did several songs down there, including ours, and the whole idea was that we were trying to promote Gale Winds, and so we recorded Gale Winds in Nashville. Nothing ever happened, but Lonnie took the tapes, and he took the tapes up to St. Louis, to Norman Weinstower. Norman Weinstower and Mel Friedman owned about half of KXOK and half of WLS in Chicago. And so they loved the song. We recorded it at Technosonic Studios in St. Louis, and then we came home, and I thought, well, didn't hear anything for about 3 or 4 weeks. And Harold Copelands and I were riding in his new car out on Interstate 57, and it comes on KXOK as a big hit. And I had to pull over and try to get my breath. But it finally went coast to coast. Dot Records picked it up and distributed it. I'll play a little bit of Gale Winds. I'm sure you guys have all heard this. How do you like to so far. That was a Hammond chord organ. He was playing the chords on, and of course you'll hear the Lonnie Dixon and Nick Ridgway come in on saxes in the middle of it. My part was the exciting bass part. You guys all know those. These are some of the records. Everything we did was 45s. We really never did a complete album, except for the one up in the right-hand corner, or left-hand corner up there. That was a 4-song extended play, they call it. And that was sold in Europe. It had multiple languages on the back. It was sold in Europe, it was sold in Australia, Canada. I really don't know how many records we actually sold, because a lot of it, I don't think we had reported to us. And then also we recorded later for MGM. We did the theme from Dr. Zhivago. We did a TV show called The Invaders. We did the music for that. And of course, we did the St. Louis Blues, Frog. I Don't Care Anymore was probably my favorite. I don't know if the title is a good title, but I'll give it to. Let's see where we are. I'll play a little bit of that. This was my favorite song we recorded as the original. It features a lot of brass in it, and that's what's really cool. Ellis, Lonnie, and I playing the brass. Kevin Cox singing. Pretty much the same from and as all good stories have to take a right turn somewhere along the line, the war had broken out and we'd all become 1A. Probably expired, my college has expired. I've taken a 2-year degree the first time I went to SMU. And so I'd already graduated, and I couldn't get back in to reclaim a 2S rating. So, and the other guys were having some problems maintaining above a C average. So who knows? Anyway, this is kind of what happened. Just Actually, Lonnie Dixon went down to the post office. There was a recruiter down there. We said, my gosh, we want to stay together and play music. And he said, oh, we can do that. The Army will do that. They will take you in and as an entertainment group, and you guys can travel all around the United States and play for troops in country. Of course, like most governmental promises, it didn't turn out that way. But we went to, let's see if I have one. 6 of us volunteered, and 2 of the guys got out on physical issues. Lonnie, oddly enough, he was diabetic, and they wouldn't take him. And Kevin Cox had scoliosis; they wouldn't take him. So there were just the 4 of us you saw there that were kind of left holding the bag, so to speak. At any rate, the 101st Airborne Division band came to Herrin and played at the parking lot, Bank of Herrin, and then we were sworn in on Channel 3, and 4 of us, even Ellis had completed his degree in music at SIU, and the other 3 of us had had a lot of experience in music, and we could not make above 80 on the entrance exam. So they sent it to the Navy School of Music. The Army didn't have one. We'd already been told how to say, steps and bulkheads, doors, and then we had to learn how to say bulkheads and ladders, and it was really crazy. But we went to the Navy School of Music in Virginia and passed their course. Fortunately, we came back, and unfortunately, the 101st Airborne Division that we were assigned to, the whole division was going to Vietnam. So that's kind of how that happened. The sergeant that was part of the unit we were assigned to, the band unit, said that we were not going to be a rock and roll band in Vietnam. He just said, flat, you're not going to do it, you're not taking the equipment. But we did this thing. But we slipped our equipment over. Doug actually brought it down in a truck one night. We were involved with loading the pallets that were going to go on the aircraft for the whole division, and so our equipment went. Much to the dismay of the sergeant that was in charge of the band, he didn't want us to play. We practiced in this little building here, which during the day we were filling sandbags, and at night a lot of times we were pulling guard on the perimeter. And that was an Army band, so we picked up a fabulous lead singer, black guy who sounded just like Lou Rawls. He was I'll play some of that for you. And we got a keyboard player, singer, and a bass player. We set up after about 2 weeks. We rehearsed and had a pretty good repertoire put together. All of us knew a lot of the songs anyway, but we put together a really good, a lot of soul music, a lot of brass, and so forth. And we started playing right outside our billets where we were in that camp. And about 100, 150 soldiers come running down to see what was going on. That sergeant was up in our face screaming to quit, make us quit. And he said, I'm going to put you guys back out on the line, and you're never going to, this is not going to happen. And the division chaplain happened to be standing behind him, a full-bird colonel. And he just basically told him to shut up. He said, we're going to use these guys. And that's how we ended up flying around to Vietnam and that's me. Actually had hair and all that back then. We ended up flying around Vietnam in 2 Huey helicopters. We had 2 1.5K generators that we would, and long cables, and we'd set up at a camp and run the cables over to us. They had a place, usually like a pallet or something for us to set our equipment on. We'd start playing and entertaining troops. That's Sergeant James. I just talked to him the other day. He was our kind of den mother. We needed somebody to take all the orders because there were all kinds of fire bases and helicopter units, and everybody wanted us to come entertain. And so he basically took all the orders and arranged our itinerary to get us out. arranged to have the helicopters come and pick us up at a certain point, and we would fly out of these different bases. Actually, this is back up there where those tents are. It was the tent where we were staying. That was up near the Oshel Valley. That was away, HUE. This was a village pacification program. We played a few of these. They were really interesting in the fact that we would play for the village, the people in the village, and then the military would search all their huts for ammunition and explosives. And then on both sides of us, when we were playing, there were guards. You could see these guys setting up around, and their job was to look for satchel charges in case somebody really didn't like the music. So, pretty tough gig. But you see, that's me on trumpet, Ellis McKenzie on trombone, Lloyd Grady right behind me, and you can see part of Butch's arms there in the drums. And then this was at a French fortress. The French built a lot of concrete bunkers and fortresses over there. I remember it was just extremely hot that day. They put that tent over us. We found out that those keyboards would not work in direct sunlight. They just quit because it got so hot. And so Royce Patterson was he was actually a dance band director, but he joined our combo, and he loved what we were doing. Helped arrange a lot of the brass parts that we have in the music. And we played a lot of things called troop stand-downs, where they bring in the guys from the LRPs, Long Range Patrol Guys. They bring them down, and there might be 200 or 300 of them. And then they bring in a helicopter full of steaks and beer and that sort of thing, and they would have what they call a troop stand-down, and we would play for them. And it was really great because we do something like My Girl, and you'd see some big 6'5" guy standing there with tears going down his eyes. They loved it. It was incredible. Here we are set up on a pallet. I don't know why Butch has a trombone, but he does anyway. And that's Ellis with his back. You see Lloyd walking around behind the equipment. For the first barracks I showed you is where we lived for 6 months, and then we moved up to Camp Eagle, and we lived in this tent, which was partially below ground. And basically it was below ground because of mortar attacks. If there were mortar attacks, the shrapnel would not hit us when we were laying in our cots. That's the reason for that. And they had trenches dug down so that the water would drain out of there. And that little bunker at the back was where we would run in a mortar attack. Anytime we were attacked, almost every night we were in that bunker. There were snakes in there all the time, during the day. I don't know where they went at night. And then we didn't care. In the daytime, I'd never set foot in that place. And in the nighttime, we'd jump all over each other to get in it because it didn't matter whether we snake bit and blown to pieces. But that's pretty tough. This was interesting. We played fire bases, and this was a fire base way up on a hill. We played probably, I don't know how many fire bases, maybe 25 or 30. We played over 200 jobs. Some days we played 2 or 3 times in a day. But they flew us in here, and then they brought us down on these little, you can't see any there, they were called mules. And they're like a side-by-side with a flat deck, and they would put all our gear on it and bring us down from the helicopter pad, and then we'd set up and play. That church is made out of ammunition cases. Those howitzers they had at that fire base. That fire base is where they call in a coordinate, and they shoot rounds into enemy territory, where they give them the coordinate to shoot. That's what a fire base is. And so they had all these ammo boxes, and they built a church out of them. They painted it white. It was kind of neat. You can see a little wider there. And you can see us playing there. And I want to tell you about that. Although almost all those guys at that fire base, about 3 or 4 weeks after we left, were killed. It was overrun. pretty sad. But you can see us playing there. You can see how high up we were. There were a lot of those big, they were like mountains, but there was, all of a sudden, they'd just be a mountain out of nowhere in Vietnam. I don't know what it was about. That's where we put the fire bases so they could get down. This is a different fire base here we landed at, and you can't see it, but it's raining, and the guy finally come and told us to go away. He said, the commanding officer came out and said, "What the hell are you?" We were a band. He says, "No, get out of here." So we left. This is Phan Thiet. Phan Thiet's a coastal area off China Sea, South China Sea. And up in that upper section up there, there's a big beach, and there's a couple of like nightclub houses, open-sided little nightclubs. And we played up there for some troops. And then we got a call while we were there from the battleship. Of course, we did almost gigs anywhere there used to go. So they wanted us to get on this dock, which we did. We got on the dock and we went 8 miles out into the South China Sea. And this is the USS Bradley. So on our dock, we didn't have any radio contact. We didn't have any communications with the dock. So they didn't know who we were. They thought we could have been enemies with satchel charges or whatever. And so the ship was starting to pull away from us. And we'll go back to that. And so we held up that sign that said Screaming Eagles Combo, which we called it, and was waving at them. And so then they realized who we were. And then the guys come over and dropped down ropes, and we pulled up all our equipment. And we climbed up the rope ladders, and then we played for them. People wouldn't believe these stories if I just sat there and told you that. We played the hospital ships Hope and Sanctuary. We played probably 25 or 30 different medevacs for wounded soldiers. And I'd like for you to hear this singer. This guy was incredible, Terry Stewart. And
I know you won't believe me, but I refuse to let you go. If I have to beg me for your sympathy, I don't mind, 'cause you think that's what you need. Anybody beg, and you know you don't leave me, girl. Ain't you trying to please, baby, you don't leave me, girl.
Yeah, he was good. I want to title this one because I want you to hear that those of you who do vocals or sing, you would appreciate the range of this guy. It was just incredible.
The other night, as I lay sleeping, baby,
It's Ray Charles.
Lord, how could I help you, darling? I held you in my arms. But when I woke up this morning, yeah, I found out I was mistaken. But don't you know that I was home on my head flat, yeah. 'Cause you are my sunshine, baby, my only sunshine. yeah. And so you will see that you really love me, and no one else could ever take your place, no way. But now you love me, yeah. You say you love another. You let me calling, yeah, down. Oh, see now, yeah. But you are my sunshine, baby.
Anyway, that's, this is, kind of shows off a little bit. We did instrumentals over there too, and just to show off a little bit of our brass. Of course, this is a popular song, California Dreamin', along with We Gotta Get Out of This Place. That's me playing trumpet. This is the other trumpet player, was Bob Perino, who played with Spiral Staircase. Can't get over the Spiral Staircase. I love you more today than yesterday. Bob. This was kind of the group that traveled around. This is, we called Wesley Jones on the upper left, Mr. Clean, because he was a really well-built guy, looked like Mr. Clean. Eddie Owen, we call it Bubble Man, because Eddie kind of lived in his own bubble. He was a keyboard player. Ellison Hanson, Royce Patterson. There's Bob Perino, the one I was telling you about, played the Spiral Staircase after he came back. Lloyd Rainey. This is me down here. Terry Stewart, Butch Nevius. And that's pretty much the group that did all the playing over there. We were awarded, of course, the Vietnam Service Medals. And we were awarded the Bronze Stars because we were on the perimeter of Bin Laden Air Base during the Tet Offensive, which was probably the worst part of the war. Mostly we did, but we got Bronze Stars for that. And the Army Commendation is for service above and beyond. That was for the music, as far as our entertainment. While we were gone, you can see Doug in the far right upper corner over there. Dennis Carpentier, Michael Sturgis, Tim Montgomery, Jim Kirk, and Harry Kinley all performed as the Egyptian combo in our absence while we were doing all that stuff I just showed you. They had a lot more fun, I'm sure. After, we had several groups afterwards that, all the way up to, I think we played about 55 years, it had something going on combo. And that was at Herrin City Park, and there's the plaque they have at Herrin City Park for the Egyptian combo. On the stage was dedicated to the Egyptian combo. We played, of course, Walker's Club. And you see Chris Thornton. You guys probably know John Thornton's dad. Yeah, this was a New Year's Eve in 2012-13. Chris, Doug, Tim Montgomery, myself, Michael Sturgis. And Doug passed away 2016, and his daughter's here. Vanessa, we just, Ancestry DNA is just absolutely incredible. And she put in anyway, Vanessa's, we just discovered it a couple of days ago. For about the last 20 years or so, we've been working on a movie project about us flying around Vietnam, playing rock and roll. And just recently, the last year or so, we had contacted Graham Nash, Crosby, Stills and Nash. He's our executive producer now on our project. Doug Metzger, if you remember, Dances with Wolves, Diamond Job, scary movies, all those things he's done. He's a director. He's involved with our project. Of course, Michael Sturgis, who played with Crosby, Stills and Nash, and Michael's the one kind of made all the connections, everything. He wrote the first script, and then we got Carl Gottlieb just recently. Carl Gottlieb wrote Jaws, and several other, all kinds of movies. He's also the vice president of the Screenplay Writers Guild of the United States. And so we've got some pretty heavyweight people involved in the movie project. It was going to be called Rock and Load, and we talked with several different companies about it. HBO decided that they thought they didn't want to do a war movie. We said, no, this is about music. The war is just something we happen to be down to notice, and it's not that. So they're wanting to change it to something like On a Good Note, where it would start out in the war part of it, be a surprise later on in the script. And I really like the script better because it doesn't start out with talking about Vietnam or anything. It's just something that happens. Michael Sturgis, Glenn Goodwin, Doug Metzger, the director, and myself. We were here about a year ago and went through Herrin and all the places around. That if it became a feature film, we would actually produce parts of it here, which is the early history of the band. And there's Graham Nash, and Michael and I. Carl Gottlieb was the guy on the left. Carl took me, we met in St. Louis for 3 days and worked on the script up there. And Carl brought me his book, and he said, I'm having to learn all about your life. He says, here, you need to read about mine. We went back to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, to welcome home the troops in Afghanistan in 2015. And that was really wonderful. I showed them some of the stuff and played the music for them. They were doing a very similar thing. We were also, the Egyptian Congo was the first identified rock and roll band as part of the Army. The Army had the Army band, and that was it. But now the bands are divided into, they have a rock band, country band, so forth, and all the musicians in the Army bands make up those different groups. And so when we went to Afghanistan and welcomed back the 101st went to Fort Campbell and welcomed back the 101st from Afghanistan, they had all these different units and they all performed for us. And then I played the music for them and told them all that stuff that we did. And there's a sergeant, by the way, Sergeant Williams, who didn't want us to play all the time. So we made it. It was okay. At any rate, I thank you guys for sharing your time with me. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to. Doug have passed away. Butch is in Boston area, Butch Media is in Boston area. Lloyd lives over in Murfreesboro area. He's still in southern Illinois. And the rest of them, Kevin Cox is up in Springfield. Of course, Kevin didn't go to Vietnam, but and Lonnie's in Missouri. He lives, I think, Springfield, Missouri. He's
He is
suffers some
deceased.
issues with diabetes and all that.
He's in my class at Herrin High School, and we thought that he was deceased, that Lonnie was deceased. He is not?
No, no, he's been very ill, but I don't think he's passed yet.
What about Rick? What about Nick Ridgway?
Who?
Nick Ridgway?
Oh, Nick passed, yeah, about, about 3 or 4 years ago. Yes. Yeah, was one of the things I was going to say too, Chick Nestler taught me music, and Bill Clare, Herrin High School band. Have to credit them a lot. Bill Clare had told my mom they were concerned about us playing nightclubs at that age. And he said it's the best training they'll ever have. And so, and quite a bit of my life has been doing stuff like this. I do PowerPoints I'm director of tourism for Run Lake. I'm director of economic development for Franklin County, so I'm continually. And in the ad agency business, I was always selling somebody something. So it did pay. Yes.
I remember a concert in front of Mule Music.
Yeah.
Wait, was that part of Gail Wynn's
Yes.
launch you coming about?
Yeah, they blocked off the streets because of Gail Wynn's on the charts. Got up in the national charts. And there was Cherry Street they blocked off. That's a kind of little side story. Michael Sturgis said that's where he got the bug. He rode his bike down there as a little kid, heard us play, and he says, that's what I got to do. Yes.
Who came up with the name Gail Wynn's?
That was one of the, when we were recording RCA, one of the people said that they could imagine winds coming in off the ocean when they heard the song. It's the feeling they get, and they said, that's pretty good. Not as blatant as Egyptian cowboy, but it was.
Well, where did that name come, Rick, the Egyptian combo?
We were just trying to think up a name for the band, and I think my dad said, you know, Little Egypt this and Little Egypt that, so we said Egyptian cowboy. Probably would have been better to be Egyptians or something like, but then they would have probably thought we were from Egypt. We've had that before. When we play someplace in another state or state fair or something like that, they kind of question the name a little bit.
I think one of the times you might have been at the Civic Center, I know we went to hear you one night and don't you have a CD that you
Yeah,
guys put together?
we put all the stuff that we had done on a CD.
Okay, because I think I've got it, it's just not here right now.
What I'm saying is we never actually sat down and produced an album, but we took all the 45s and all the things that we produced, and the CD included Michael Atkins saying Raindrops on that, and The Invaders from the TV show. We did the music for The Invaders, and there were a couple other extra little things on there, but it was all combo music, and it was all on the CD. Yeah.
We had a Egyptian combo day in Herrin.
Yes.
During Herrin Festa.
Yeah, we played, I think it's like 12 times or so. We played
18.
Huh?
18.
18. Jim Gentile back there was the guy who actually got us booked there quite often. But, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, had a birthday cake and all kinds of things that were going on. It was really nice.
Tell us about did you get an offer to sing on the Ed Sullivan Show?
That was, there was a lot of excitement going on back then, and we got a letter from the Ed Sullivan Show saying that we could play on the Ed Sullivan Show, or they'd be interested if our record kept going up and all that sort of thing. And so we said, well, and until we get booked, we're not going to say a word about it. But someone had seen it down at the post office, and it got out pretty quick that we were going to be on Ed Sullivan. The slot we were looked for ended up being Rolling Stones. And another brush with greatness was that Louise Harrison Caldwell and George came to hear us play and asked if George could sit in, and we said no. That's in the book, that's true.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You guys get together, the ones that you have kind of, you ever get together and just play for yourselves? I
No.
don't think I've heard that you're playing.
No, I bought the most expensive guitar I've ever owned, just a while back, but I don't know why, I just said I want to play it.
That's something you got to do.
Yeah, I always wanted to have a Les Paul when I bought a Les Paul along there. No intentions of going out and playing, I think Barb would probably shoot me if I wanted to try to go out and play music.
Okay, to follow up to that. You played trumpet, you played the guitar. How many different instruments did the guys play? I mean, like, was somebody just strictly keyboard, or did, you guys?
Doug played pretty good keyboards, and Lloyd played keyboards, and we just kind of switched around a little bit. All that became necessary when we first started playing, because we needed a musician, somebody to play something, play bass or play guitar or whatever. We just jump over there and somebody would take it over, you know, it's necessity. Any other questions?
Rick, did the musical gene come from your father or your mother or in the family?
No, my dad, I think he said he played tuba one time. I don't know if that would be a musical gene.
He kept good time because he was a clock man.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, we didn't seem to be any music in the family, just all of a sudden. I think Doug and I we were both little short guys, and we decided we had to do something to attract girls. So we learned music. But I guess that's it. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed talking about it.
Missed your birthday this morning, just make it up.